I've already done my taxes, and I did it on the IRS website, irs.gov, and I did the free file forms where you just open and you fill out the stuff and then you just plug in their information, and it was pretty straightforward, pretty easy and free. And I recommend doing that rather than necessarily going through one of these companies that advertise during the Super Bowl, where if you have to fill out the proof that you had health insurance, they're going to charge you, and it's not necessary. You can file for free, and you can give it a try, right? If you try it and it's not working, you can always go through one of these online services and do it that way. But I encourage you to give it a try yourself, especially for most people. You're gonna be able to do it for free, and it saves you a little bit of money. Now, I just did a video about retiring early, and if I could do it over again, I would have taken the proceeds from my home in Massachusetts and rent it instead of buying something in Florida. Now, if you do that and you have a chunk of money and you put it into, say, a simple, you could even do just a CD, and you're going to earn interest, right? And so that when you think about, okay, you have, what happens if something happens to you, how's that money going to be, where do you want it to go, children or some kind of charity, whatever, then you can take money and you can give it as a gift, right? So, and this is related to taxes, right? So if you have some money and you want to give some money to, say, a child, and you don't want them to have to pay taxes on it, right? If you giving them a gift and you state this is a gift, right? You can gift money to your children without them having to claim it as income. And for 2025, that limit was $19,000, right? Where you don't have to declare that as income. Now, you can get gifts from anyone. You could, if you give a gift to someone on YouTube, right? They don't have to declare it until, that if it's from a single person, they don't have to declare that from an individual, right? So, so this is another way, to realize how the tax code works. And again, I'm not an accountant or anything like that, but if you read the information on the IRS about gifts, they have this gift threshold where you can receive up to $19,000, from someone else without having to declare that as income. So just realize that that's an option out there, whether you're trying to give money to a child, like to help them out, in certain situations, and they don't have to pay income tax on it, right? So you got to make sure they understand that this is a gift and therefore it's not taxable income. Obviously double check it by going on the website and everything, but I just don't know that enough people realize that you can do that, right? And you do have older people that have this scarcity mindset, because maybe they grew up in a depression, maybe they grew up poor, and they're holding on to their money really, really tight year after year. And when they die, there's a lot of tax implications, and a lot of that money may not, they think it's all going to go to whoever they want it to, but it may not, the percentages might be less than if they were more purposeful about giving out that maximum amount of gift, right? Whatever it is per year, give out that gift money to one or two individuals, whatever, so that you don't outlive your money, and therefore you're giving it to people and they're not suffering like a tax burden because of it, and you're not giving so much of it away or back to the government. So just think about that. if that's on your radar. Obviously, not everyone has, money to gift away, but you might have a parent or a grandparent that's in that situation and they don't understand this, part of the tax code. So, maybe show them a YouTube video about it, specifically. I'm sure there's somebody out there doing it with much greater detail than I am. So just something, to put in front of them. And, because they might have this mindset of, well, I know where it's all going when I die, but there could be a scenario depending on how long, they live and how much money they have, where they could be giving out this gift of income or gifts of money, and it actually works out better. It's just on a side topic, about retiring early. There's this whole push that you want to wait to collect Social Security, right? Don't collect it at 62, wait until 70, because you're getting more money. And in some ways that makes sense, but in other ways it doesn't, because there's no guarantee, right? You may not live till 70. I mean, the average life expectancy of Americans isn't going up, it's going down. So I think if, and it depends if you look at, what race you are and stuff like that, there's different numbers, male versus female, different races. So if you look at your gender and race, might be surprised what the average life expectancy is. Whereas a lot of these, retirement entities, businesses that are making money off of managing your money, they're going to say, oh, wait for this, and you have to have enough money to live to 100 years old. But you might not be able to enjoy spending that money because of your health, right? So it's important to balance those things and say, well, what do you want to do that you haven't done yet? And maybe that you might want to consider, taking Social Security early. Start withdrawing from your 401k retirement accounts, at 59 and a half, and not waiting. But it's personal preference. I mean, that's my plan. Maybe I'm going to run out of money, but if I try and do some of the things that I think I can do now based on my health, then, if I'm 75, 80, then I might just be happy, relaxing and not going anywhere. And I don't need a lot of money to do that, right? So just another thing I needed to get off my mind while I'm waiting here at the airport. I don't know if you saw some planes going by in the background, but I'm waiting at the airport. So I'm just thought I'd do a little video. I've been thinking about doing a video, and then it's just like I'm worried about perfection. Oh, do I have everything perfect? I can't do a video today. What excuses about the perfection? That's why it's like, I'm just gonna go live, because then there's no, I can't overthink it. I can't stop it per se. I mean, obviously, it's live for a moment, and I gotta make it public. But I thought, what? Just gonna try to express myself as somebody to talk to. I don't have anybody in the car to talk to, so I'm talking to whoever's online right now. So I appreciate you. Have a great day, and see you soon.